been a long time since I've done a video that was kind of a visual of my face. So here it is again. I am still ill, so my voice is pretty terrible, so I do apologise for the audio on this one ahead of schedule, but hey, I thought I'd show my face. Here I am. So today's video is just a short one today. It is not a top 10, okay? It's not a top 10, just a few of my favourite horror games that I've loved over the years. Just kind of wanted to go over a couple of those with you guys, get your thoughts on it. So yeah, first off, as always, guys and girls, obviously if you like this video, please click that like button. If you haven't already subscribed, then please feel free to do so, and leave comments. You know how much I love your comments, so please leave me some lovely comments and I will obviously get back to you guys as soon as I possibly can. So as I say, it's just a few that we're going to go through today. Just games over the years that have genuinely scared me and genuinely terrified me. There are loads, and I expect at some stage I will do a top 10, but this is just a few. 5. I'll give you 5. Okay? So first up is Half-Life. Now, it might be a bit of an odd one, and Half-Life was actually yeah, I was thinking about this video and I was just like, really? But yeah, Half-Life scared me. It genuinely scared the hell out of me when I played Half-Life, especially when I first played it on my own, and I actually owned a copy of it. It's not so much the content, although that is quite scary, that whole aspect of obviously, you know, aliens and that kind of thing, but it's more the atmosphere in Half-Life. It terrified me beyond belief. It's so well done. Obviously nowadays, you know, the original Half-Life does look a bit dated, but it was just so dark, and so something about it being so sterile in that kind of like that spaceship environment, something at that time that it terrified me. And I think the thing that they grasp really well in that game, the thing they do really well in that game, is the sound, the sound effects in it. That's really what builds that atmosphere. You can be walking around for quite some time with not a lot going on, and suddenly you just hear this massive clatter, and a grate will fall down on your head, and these aliens will come running out, and that's really, it was scary. It was genuinely quite scary as a kid, and I was quite young when I originally played that game, and it got to me. It did. I know it's Half-Life, and that's a weird thing to say, but honestly, if you think about, if you kind of put yourself in, like, say, a 10-year-old, 11-year-old shoes playing that game, yeah, it's scary stuff, genuinely. So if you haven't played it, go and give it a go. You'll probably turn around and be like, big wet blanket. But honestly, it killed me as a kid, it really did. So yeah, it needs to go on there, and I wanted to get Half-Life out there, because it definitely is one. I know people always talk about it as an FPS, but for me, it was more the scare factor. That's what really made Half-Life for me. Moving on from that, and a game that I've only played quite recently, really, actually. I downloaded it on the Wii U, would you believe, which is Slender Man. People I know have gone on about Slender Man for years, and you know how scary it is. Obviously, I've watched lots and lots of Let's Plays of Slender Man, and I'd never really tried it myself. I just didn't really see the point. I'd seen it so much on YouTube and stuff, but yeah, I gave it a go not that long ago. Downloaded it and played it on my own, headset on, in the dark. Well, we all know, don't we, really? I mean, yeah, my God, you know, and it's such a basic game. You just go around finding bits of paper. I was like, but it scared the hell out of me. It really, really did, like, genuinely, to the point where I had to just take one ear off just so I could hear reality flowing in, and I wasn't scared too much. That's how bad it was. I know everyone's played Slender Man now. I'm a little bit late to the party, but it was a proper scary game. You know, that fact you can't get away. You know, once he's there, and the screen blurs, and and it's always, for me, it's when you're doing so well. You know, you can be doing so well, and you're like, okay, you know, I've got over my nerves now, and I'm just gonna relax a bit. It's gonna be fine. And bam, he's there, and the screen buzzes, and it's just like, ah. But yeah, I've played it a few times, and it's just kind of sat there now. I don't really, I kind of left that one alone. So yeah, Slender Man, it's a good one. Deserves to be on there. So moving away from that, going back a few years now. Once again, when I was a bit younger, but it was Eternal Darkness on the N64. This is a game which is more of a adventure, I guess you'd call it, like a survival horror adventure kind of game. It's really, I mean, the concept of the game, it takes place in different eras, I should say, of time. So you've got kind of like Romans and present day, and flips between the two. But the thing that I found scary, and you've got to think this is a good few years back, was the concept of insanity in a game, and how seeing certain images could play with your insanity. Not only does that affect you as a gamer, but it affected your game. So for example, if you saw too many scary things like ghosts and monsters and skeletons within the game, things would start happening. You start to hear voices. The actual game itself would change. I think there was a part where you would be fighting, suddenly you'd be fighting yourself. Even to a point which it genuinely got me. This is before YouTube, anything like that. You know, you were still, you know, all cheats and hints and things you got from a gaming manual that you borrow off your friend. So I didn't know about this, but there was a point where if your insanity level got so high, the screen would go blank and it would just say error code at the top, and that was it. And it would just stay on that. That was it. And I genuinely was like reaching to go and press the reset button, it would flip back up again. I was like, oh my god, you got me. But that was incredible at the time. People weren't doing things like that back then. You know, it was really, really special. And so scary. Once again, the graphics, I mean, even then weren't great on that. It wasn't perfect on Eternal Darkness, but it was so well done, and it really did play with you. As you were playing the game, you would have to kind of think, right, what am I going to do rationally in this bit to try and get me through it without the game mucking up too much and messing with my head. So brilliant. And it really did, yeah. Maybe scare isn't the right word. It didn't scare me, but it made me think. And hey, that's what gaming's about, isn't it? So yeah, Eternal Darkness. Just a couple more to go through with you guys. So it's the whole franchise, it's the whole genre, but we'll go through one of them first off. So it's Resident Evil 4. Now, Resident Evil 4, no matter what you're playing it on, when you play Resident Evil 4, it's a fantastic game. It's a brilliant game. Just before Resident Evil started to get a bit not so great. But yeah, it's fantastic. The reason for me why I put it on a scary list, or a horror list as it were, obviously it's Resident Evil, but the main reason for me was it was really the first time that we weren't really dealing with zombies. We were dealing with people that were infected. And this didn't make them, it didn't make them attack you and rip off your limb from limb. They were there. They were compos mentis. You know, they can use tools. They can come for you. You know, in a way that zombies didn't. They could think like people still. And that was terrifying. When I first played that on the GameCube, you're talking within the first 5-10 minutes of gameplay, you've got that lovely little intro video. You're then in this town in Eastern Europe, and you're kind of like, okay, what's going on? You know, I'm Leon. What's the big whoop? You know, what's going on, guys? And suddenly these people start coming at you, all these villagers. And so you run into a house, you know, and you think you're safe in this house. But no, not only do they start cutting through the door with axes, they put ladders up against the house, they're coming through the window upstairs, you're being swarmed from all corners, people with pitchforks and knives, men, women, you know, it's absolutely terrifying. On top of that, one of possibly for me the scariest video game characters of all time, the chainsaw guy from Resident Evil 4, comes battering in. They're all quite slow moving. He comes in and he is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He is. He comes at you and he is gun-ho to kill you. And he's so tough. And he keeps coming back. You know, just so well done. So well done. But the horror aspect for me is the fact that, yes, these are infected, but they're people. They know what's going on. You know, they can still communicate in a way that human beings do. That is truly terrifying. That is why that's on this list. Moving on from that, as I say, it is another one in the Resident Evil franchise, but it is probably my favourite horror game of all time, or survival game, whichever you may deem it worthy of, and that's Resident Evil 2. The reason Resident Evil 2 is on there, one, it was probably the first horror game I ever played, like a proper horror game. It was a demo that was 10 minutes long. I've mentioned this before in another video. and it scared me. It shocked me because of the violence, and it scared me. It got me into zombies of every kind, TV, comic book, game, anything to do with zombies. It got me into that, and that was at the age of about 11. I was obsessed with Resident Evil, absolutely obsessed with it. I wasn't allowed it until a few years later. But how many times I played Resident Evil 2, I don't know. I own it on most consoles, if I'm honest, just because I could play it over and over and over. Once again, it does go back to me, that whole concept initially as a kid of being afraid of something that should be so normal. So a scenario within, like Raccoon City, like with the T-virus, these are people, these are human beings. They're not monsters. Really, they're not monsters. They are just infected people who've been reanimated. That is terrifying. That feeling of they're coming to get me. These human beings are coming to eat me alive. I'm in a town, I'm in a city I don't know. I'm on my own. What do I do? Not only that, in Resident Evil 2, the animation is brilliant. The camera angles, I know some people hate them now, but those camera angles are fantastic. I love them. I think they're so well done. The jumps, there's some brilliant jumps with the dogs bursting through the glass, the lickers when you first see them, they're terrifying. And just the noise, the sound effects. There's a part very early on when you walk past some zombies and it's shot at ground level. You come in from the corner and they're there munching on this guy, and you can just hear them tearing and ripping at flesh, and you can obviously go in and blow them to pieces or slowly walk past them. So well done. A fantastic game. At some stage I'm gonna do like a Resident Evil video, I think, just to go through a bit more detail about them, but I love it. Absolutely love me some Resident Evil 2. So there we go, guys. Just 5 today. 5 scary games that I do advise you go out and play if you haven't already done so. And yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this list today. I say it's not a top 5, it's just 5 ones I really like and I'd like to share with you guys. So as I mentioned earlier, obviously leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with this top 5? Am I missing any from this? Because I'd like, if there are, I would love to know. Any horror games, throw them at me. I'd love to play some. I'm kind of a bit missing horror at the moment, so I'd love to play some horror games. Leave your comments. I love hearing back from you guys. And as per usual, whatever it is that you're doing today, guys and girls, have a wonderful day. Love to you all. Bye bye.